Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to this latest episode in the Ferrari series, What Was Bright, and the second episode on the Boxster. Let me show you what I bought. So here it is. I've not done much so far because obviously I wanted to do everything on camera, but I have put my private reg on it. I got that when I was 21. It was a present from my mum and dad, and the first car it went on was my VR6. And it's 5 years since I've had a fun car, so I thought yeah, I'm definitely going to put my plate on it. So here it is. So as you can see on the front bumper, that's been painted before, and either that's been done with a rattle can, which is probably the most likely scenario, or something's gone wrong when it's been painted and it's started flaking off. So if you're actually painting something and it went like that, then that would be a chemical reaction and you'd basically have to sand it off and start again. So something's gone wrong there. I would guess probably rattle can job, and so we're definitely going to need to paint the front bumper. And moving around the car, we've got some scratches on the wing there. They're reasonably deep. That's not deep. There's a scratch there. Put my coffee cup down. The wheels were refurbed. The guy that had it managed to get the wheels refurbed, and it's got some nice tyres on it as well. They're not N-rated. If you're buying tyres for a Porsche, I would always recommend that you put N-rated tyres on it, but they are good and they grip, so they're Michelin Pilot Sport. Oh, they are N-rated. I'm talking nonsense. There we go, N3, even better. So you've got the usual bit of corrosion down here. Now I was in Porsche this morning, and I was looking at a 160 grand Carrera GTS, and I did have a look down here. Let me show you the picture. And as you can see, unfortunately there's still nothing to prevent this rust that occurs. So when I got the 996 turbo, it was Arctic Silver, same colour as this, and I ended up spending quite a lot of money. That was before I painted, on getting these bits painted just to try and keep it mint, and also a bit on the sills, and so that cost me thousands of pounds. And then when I got the 997 turbo, I deliberately got a black one because that meant I could just treat that and then just touch it in and you couldn't see it. But on silver you can't really do that, so that's something that we're going to need to address. There's a scratch on that door. That's not too bad. It looks worse than it is, so I'm gonna guess and hope that at this era Porsche still put plenty of lacquer on the cars, because what you can do with smart paint correction really depends on how much lacquer there is. That's what it all boils down to. And when I'm painting cars, I always put plenty of lacquer on it, for the simple reason that if my customer comes back and they've got a scratch, then I know there's a pretty good chance that I'll be able to polish it out. So just sort of marks as you'd expect. As you can see, the car is covered in tar spots. There's lots of them. The whole thing's covered, and silver is one of the worst colours for seeing it. There's also a little bit of rust on the door edge. What's happened there is it's been chipped by something, and unfortunately it's not been touched in. So if you ever do chip your door edge, then definitely touch it in, because once there's rust on a panel, there's no way of getting rid of it. So the only way to actually completely solve that for life would be either to cut that bit out or replace the door, which is a bit extreme for that amount of rust. So we will do something with that. This is the worst bit. It was like that when the guy got it. It's got a dent in there. You can see that. Looks actually even worse through the camera in the sunlight. So we're definitely going to address that. And as you can see, there's a little bit of corrosion down there as well. This type of paint here, this is rubberized paint, and I don't understand why that isn't put on the front as well. I actually had that put on the front of my 911, the silver one, after I got it painted, or when it was getting painted, just to try and make it last a bit longer, because what happens is the stones are more likely to rebound rather than chip the paint away. So I'm guessing it must be for aesthetics, because if they did put that on the front, then it would last a lot longer. So these wee bits here, some wee scratches, that's broken, which was like that when the guy got it. I have got another one of them inside, so that's something that we need to tackle. The back bumper and the boot lid's pretty clean, so that's good. And as you'd expect, you know, there are wee scratches around the car, but for 25 years old, I would call that a really clean example. Popular modification that people do is putting the later facelift headlights and taillights on it, which do, in my opinion, look a lot better, but you're looking at about £1,000, so we're not going to be doing that. And there are some people out there, like my friend Fraser, who prefers orange. I changed the rear clusters on my Evo 6 to clear and red, which I thought looked a lot better, and I never lived it down because he prefers them in orange. Bit of corrosion there as well, so once you get corrosion, doesn't matter what you do, it's always coming back. So what we're going to do is basically sand it down, treat it, and then put some paint on it. But once it's like that, all you can do is keep on top of it. So what I used to do with my 911s, probably my Boxster, probably my Cayman S as well, is just once a year I would rub any corrosion off, I would treat it, and then I would just touch it in, and then that would last till the next year. So if you keep on top of it, then it won't get worse, but if you don't, then it'll just spread. So that's it, we scratch there. Somebody's put these bits on here in an attempt presumably to help stop the stone chips, but the problem is it's obviously been done after it was already corroded, so it hasn't really done anything other than not improve the look of that panel, if I'm honest. So there we go, wee scuff there. I'll show you inside it as well. Excuse all my stuff. So 87,771 miles, 439.7 miles. So that's, I must have done about 500 miles because I zeroed that at some point on the journey home. Nice thing. Seat bolsters are in really good condition. Believe it or not, this car is actually better mechanically and aesthetically inside than the one that I had when I was 25, and that was 20 years ago. So that's, or almost 20 years ago, so that's a lot better. It's definitely had a much easier life than the one I had, so that's great. It feels a lot tighter to drive, and it's got the same sort of mileage as mine had when I sold it, so there we go. So I did take it to Porsche Perth this morning. Thanks very much to David from Porsche in Perth for hooking me up with parts. I did buy some parts which I'll show you in a second, and I did take a picture of my car in the car park, not looking out of place at all with all the nearly new Porsches, but yeah, so I'll let you see that. So plan of action today is I've just taken it down and given it a wash. What I'm going to do, or definitely what I'm going to do today, is detar it. So I will let you see close up, and I'll show you what I'm doing, and then we'll just go into time lapse, otherwise it'll be a really boring video. So I'm going to detar it, so I'm going to take all the tar spots off it, and what I'm going to do as well is do some polishing, sanding and polishing on it. So do some smart paint correction is what I call it, and that's basically trying to remove scratches or make them very, very hard to see without having to paint it. So that's something I quite enjoy doing, and it can absolutely completely change the look of a car. And quite often there'll be scratches that people would think you definitely have to paint that, but you can actually get them out. So we're going to do a bit of that today, and then I've got the livery kit for it, all the lettering, so I'm going to put that on today as well because it's free advertising for the channel. And yeah, so that might be all I do today, I don't know. I did order, if you remember, I said that there's a micro switch for the roof. So basically there's a little micro switch up here, as you just see the windows going down there, so that detects when that's open. And so what should happen is the window should come down immediately as soon as that releases, and then it's ready for you to press the button to put the roof down, but it probably won't work, no, and that's because you need to hold this micro switch at just the right angle for it to work. So we'll have a look at that. I've got one from Porsche. Whether or not we'll do that today, I'm not sure, but it would be good to do that because it is a little bit of a pain if you want to put the roof down. So I'll shut that up just now. Let me show you what I got from Porsche. Oh, I forgot to tell you as well, the central lock-in wasn't working when I got it, and I was thinking it was probably something to do with the actual system, but it was actually just the key batteries. So that was a really cheap fix. That doesn't happen very often, so that's definitely worth celebrating. And also the keys were kind of worn, so I did actually reshell this one. So I took out the actual key and put it into a new fob, and I will order one for the other one and just show you how to do it, just in case you want to do that for your own car. So this is what I got. This is an original Porsche fuel filter. This is an original Porsche air filter. We have, that is the micro switch. I actually thought it was the full thing I was getting, because it was 2 micro switches, because there is one like that on eBay for like $5, but we'll have a look and see. That is a fuel filter, an oil filter. It's really small, isn't it? And sump plug. And this is what Porsche recommend putting in Boxsters these days. So it's 5W50, and that's basically to do with the viscosity when it's cold and the viscosity when it's warm. So 040 is what you would have put in it before. That's what I used to put in it 20 years ago when I had one. A lot of the Porsches run on 040 in a lot of modern cars, but this is what Porsche recommends, so that's what I'm putting in it. So that's the car inside. I did have a bit of fun trying to get it on the ramp. This is an example of why something on a Porsche or a sports car or something a little bit different could take a heck of a lot longer than just on something else. So basically, to get it onto the scissor lift, I had to use a small ramp pad and a big ramp pad, drive it onto there so I could get the clearance underneath to make sure that the bottom of the car was high enough up from the bottom of the ramp without it damaging anything, because I didn't look closely at what it was, but there's something underneath that would have hit the scissor lift before the pad on the ramp lifted the car, so obviously that's not good. So I always kind of had a look underneath while I'm lifting things up, just to make sure that it's not going to damage anything. So so that wasted about 25 minutes or something, including going next door to get more ramp pads, but that's it on the lift now. So what I'm going to do is just start doing what I said, and I'll probably just go panel by panel. So I'll start on this door because that's as good as anywhere to start, and what I'll do is I'll take off the tar spots and just any other contamination on the surface of the lacquer. I'm going to get rid of all that, and then what we'll do is we'll have a look at this. So probably what I'll do is I'll start by compounding it and see how we get on. I suspect that won't come out with compounds. I think that's unlikely, but I'm sometimes wrong, and if it doesn't, then we can get involved in sanding it, but I don't really want to sand it unless I have to, and silver is the worst possible colour you could try and do paint correction on, because very easily you can end up with a different shaded area. So we'll see how we get on. So just to give you a close-up of the panel, sorry about the flashing lights, it's this particular type of LED light in here. So you can see there's a lot of tar spots on that, a lot. Light scratch there, deeper scratches there. That was the one we looked at outside. Scratch down there. So obviously whatever's happened here has also damaged the door. So what we're going to do is we're going to get any contaminants off this panel, including the tar spots. I'm not going to tell you what I'm using to do it because I don't want you to copy me, because you may very well ruin your car paint. So I'm absolutely, definitely wanting to help everyone in any way I can. But if you're doing this yourself, then unless you get a tar spot remover or something like that, something that can actually work quite well is, believe it or not, window cleaner. Just your typical supermarket window cleaner can actually work quite well for getting tar spots off. And there are products that you can buy that won't damage your paintwork that allow you to do it. So let's just try this. So I'm using not a new cloth, but a washed cloth. And as you can see, that's just taken it right off very, very, very quickly. But you have to be extremely careful not to damage the paint. So I wouldn't recommend using it if you figured out what I am using. And if you are gonna, then wet the panel first so that it's diluted. If you try and do this without some sort of product, then you can actually scratch, put little white scratches in the panel, just rubbing too much. So if you're using a good product, which again, try window cleaner, you shouldn't really have to press very hard. It should just come off fairly easily. Because otherwise what you're probably doing is just putting little scratches into your paint or into your lacquer, which is fine if you're away to cut and polish it, but not so much other times. So you can see there's a lot of crap coming off the paint. So I'll just finish this on time lapse and then I'll show you what we're going to do to cut it. So this is what it looks like now. As you can see, I've got most of the tar spots off, and if I've missed any, they'll probably just come off when we cut it. If not, I'll just take them off individually. So as you can see, just taking the tar spots off and removing any road grime, basically any contamination on the surface of the lacquer, has already made quite a big difference. So let's have a look at the other side. This side doesn't have as much because it's the left side. But yeah, already looking cleaner. So it's very easy to make a car look shiny by polishing it. The way that you can tell whether it's been kind of professionally polished, in my opinion, is if you use what I just used on it and the car still looks shiny, because it's very easy to fill paint with one of the resin-based polishes that just make it look shiny, but as soon as it comes off, it's back to the way it was. So in my opinion, professionally polished paint will stay as shiny as it is, and all you need to do is protect that shine. And if you want to know more about that, have a look at my series on the Mercedes that I did. It's the one, my daily driver. I spent a week on that, and it's 2.5 years on, and it's still just as shiny, and all I've done is wax it once a year. So that's what it is just now. So now what we're going to do is get the buff on it, so I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So we'll see how we get on with this first scratch. I'm using a brand new head on the buff, so I just need to prime it first, so I've put some polish on it. always use a brand new cloth as well. And that's pretty much gone. So that's good, that means we don't need to sand it. So I'm just going to continue on with this panel and I'll put it on time lapse, otherwise it will be very boring.